How you doing? Before the weekend finishes up, I figure I'll give another video. I've had a, what was that? My tires redone, replaced Friday, my front tires. And I was waiting, and this other guy was waiting, and of course, we got small talk. So later on, I mentioned I was a reverend, or I got my Reverend C. That's when he chimed in, you know, what you're reverend of, that kind of thing. So we started talking, and you know, he wasn't forthcoming, nor was I, about the who, the what's, the where's. But eventually it came out where I told him about what I was doing with Access Sanctuary and Chapels, and he was telling me about how he was a Christian youth pastor or a youth minister. Stereotypically, it didn't fit the stereotype of one. Usually a youth pastor or a youth minister that I see are usually the ones wearing blue jeans, the tan boots, and the plaid shirts, and you know, they act like the older brother or the uncle you can talk to, you know, that kind of thing. Who tries to steer you right, make sure you make the right decisions in life. But he wasn't like that. He was more like Phil Nye the Science Guy kind of guy. You know, his name was Micheal. I was just calling him Brother Mike. So we had an interesting, we had a debate, but we didn't like have a pissing contest over it. We just, you know, point out different things. And he was intrigued over the coexist, but a lot of churches, they use the coexist as a new symbol of evil. So for me, I'm always, you know, I'm not apprehensive of sharing the coexist philosophy that I have, but it's always funny when you have people who are a natural opponent of it act receptive towards it. So either it's an act or they just were genuine. It doesn't matter. He had an interest. So I went off and we had our debates, you know, and I would tell him about a topic about the video I'm working on called Christian Witch. I'm estimating the video to be about almost an hour to an hour and a half long. I got a lot of material, and I actually separated a folder and everything else. So it's extensive, and not to mention the video editing involved behind it. So I started telling him, you know, my knowledge of what I know. And I said, you know, well, people call themselves like Christian witches, for instance. It's an oxymoron, because you know, you got anything from Leviticus, Matthew, Deuteronomy, and then all of the other, a lot more other chapters. And then there's about 30 different reference Bibles. In other words, it isn't just the King James; it's a whole list of them. So that's where my background is on this video, or the video coming up. You know, it has a lot of footnotes and bibliography. It shows this religion tells people not to deal with your ass as a witch. So once I explained that to him, he knew I knew the Bible enough to hold my own in a conversation. But he caught me off guard. This little fucker. He caught me off guard, and but in a good way. What it was is I made a criticism about how Chick-fil-A was posting up an anti-gay statement, and I was supporting the gay movement for protesting Chick-fil-A. And I saw a picture of all these Christians supporting Chick-fil-A, but the irony was, and there was a scripture, and I don't know off the top of my head, but basically it was Christians to feed the poor. Now he thought he caught me on it. Now at the moment he did, but I had to listen to him out first. He said that the churches support all these other organizations that do all this stuff. That was the key phrase I didn't catch soon enough. He was saying how the churches write checks, like $10,000 check to a food bank, or $20,000 check for this organization, so on and so forth. Now, get this. What if that was true? A church supporting another organization is a transaction. Here's a penny. I'm going to support your cause. Here you go. You take it. Thank you. Did I feed you? It was a transaction. And that's where I caught him, but too little too late, right? In other words, and then the post was very visual. I mean, you had people in line, and you know, to support Chick-fil-A, but they wouldn't support the homeless in the same manner. And that's where I got him, or got him a little late, but still got him. And arguing with a Christian isn't too hard if you know what the Bible's about. But there's also the funny part, you don't have to read the whole Bible anymore. I go to atheist groups. They actually pick apart the Bible on its hypocrisy, its double standards, its all the confrontational parts that they see. They made a separate book of it. That's the one you read. Because then it's kind of hard to argue, because it's the same book, same Bible. I had a young lady who was getting married. She probably got married by now, I forget. And she was a new what do you call it? Non-denominational, you know, which is such a oxymoron of a term, because there's so many of them, they've become its own denomination. And she was telling me how, you know, that she was getting married, and I challenged her belief a little, not a whole. I didn't criticize her for it. I just was asking her, you know, what brought you to it, you know, and of course, you know, she was saved or whatever. But I said, did you read the Bible? I mean, if you're not pure before you're married, you're supposed to be killed by your father. Well, I just believe in the other parts, nice parts. So it's pick and choose. Well, that's the hypocrisy of all Christianity, right? Is that if you're going to follow it, follow it. If you're not, you know, don't. But if you do follow it, you know, be careful what you say and how you follow it, because there are so many things in there that talk about killing people because of their lack of belief or their blasphemy towards God. But I also mentioned to my brother Michael how it was funny that Jesus preached taking care of the poor, but it was other people like Leviticus who would sit there and tell you how to kill people. And his attitude was, or Michael's response was, well, Jesus was teaching the beginnings of the Bible about what to do, and Leviticus was the one showing the rules and regulations thereof, which of course no Christian follows. If you did, you'd be going to jail in today's standards. Kind of funny, don't you think? So I do find it interesting how, you know, selectivity of belief exists in a paradigm that basically gives instruction, and how selective they are in it, because I mentioned about proselytization and conversion, and he says yes, in the faith. That's where he caught me a little bit off guard too, because when you do deal with people with faith, they you know, they get all over exuberant, and I kind of made the comment, the real comment that catches their attention is, I'll just see it as a book, no different than Dr. Seuss. I don't have faith in Dr. Seuss, why should I have faith in this? Well, these are words. Well, they're words by man, inspired by God. Well, this is inspired by somebody. You know, so the problem is when you hit them with that kind of logic, it kind of, you know, these are words of Jesus. You know, and of course the words of Jesus tell you something totally contradictory to the whole paradigm of Christianity. So at that point, you know, they don't even know what they believe, and it's kind of humorous. But if you know what you're talking about, or you're a former Christian, or in my case, former Catholic, you've been around it long enough to know the do's, the don'ts, and the how nots, and you also know how to hold your own in a conversation should there be a back and forth. Now, if you got somebody to memorize the damn thing, well, they're going to beat you no matter what. But then again, you know what? If I don't have a book that rules me, I rule over books. So with that philosophy that I hold, it doesn't matter what they know. I happen to know enough to know I don't believe in that bullshit. So there you have it. But I'm tolerant of it, because a lot of people do believe in what they want to believe. And as for my video rendition of, let's say, Christian witchcraft, you know, it's going to be extensive, because there is, I did a video post, or not a video post, I did just a small post that just said Christian witchcraft, fact or fiction. And 24 hours later I get back to it and I have over 204 responses. Yeah, very much so. So that was something worth me looking into, and looking into history and the paradox and the oxymoron of that term. and you know, it'll be more extensive. It'll be more in depth, more you know, be careful what you would call yourself type of thing. You know, it might even get pulled off the web. I'll have to put it to a different channel. That's how it's going to be. Not what I say. It's just that there are modern footage of people being burned as witches. So I'm going to be showing that as well. So those who call themselves Christian witches, you know, careful what you wish for. One day you're going to bite your words, and then you're going to be strung up, and you're going to be killed over it by the very thing you called yourself, a Christian. So anyways, but this whole thing was about my buddy, brother Michael. I gave him my card. He seemed interested in the coexist sign or whatever. A lot of them do, because it is the new epiphany of, or epithesis of, evil in their eyes. You know, in fact, I could have worn my pentagram, you know, outside my shirt, and it would have been less of an impact compared to the coexist symbol. It's funny how the symbology of evil changes over the years. So, but anyways, not to drag this out too long, but I just figured I'd share this with you about my brother Michael, our topics, and how he caught me a little bit off guard. It was kind of funny. Anyways, you take care, and bye for now.